Hi, this is Mark from LongIslandWatch.com. One of the biggest decisions that watch companies make when they go to the design phase is, well, how big should I make this thing? And once you do it, it's set in stone. The design revolves around that. So if your watch is a success, you say, oh, should I make a different size? Or even if it's not a success, oh, should I make a different size to try to attract a larger customer base? Recently, very prevalent, the Casio Duro, this is my custom mod that I just did, a tremendous seller for Casio, no doubt. It's 44 millimeters or so, which is kind of large. They came out with a reduced size version. I'll admit, dumbed down a bit. However, I would say that watch is nowhere near as prevalent as this one is, which is amazing because, like I said, this watch is kind of big. So Formex is here, right? Formex originally released the Essence in the 43 millimeters, kind of like their flagship model, their initial model after they got away from their big ugly chronographs. 43 millimeters. It did okay, I would say. It wasn't hot, did decent. And then they came out with the 39 millimeter Essence, and we sell those, we sell a bunch of them, and they do really well for a Swiss watch north of $1,000. Does great. They came out with the Legeres. They did a couple of size mixes there. That was that carbon case version. However, today they're back with the steel Essence, and they've gone right smack dab in the middle of 39 and 43. Yeah, we're looking at 41 millimeter, and they decided to launch this new case design, a new case size, with a special Space Ghost Meteorite dial, which I fell in love with. I had to have one. So yeah, I also bought one for myself. However, this Essence 41 has a couple other kind of new things going for it. It's got a screw down crown, which a lot of people have been clamoring for. Has a really cool, enough realies for you, microadjust butterfly clasp, and some really cool, again, screws for the bracelet to prevent them from backing out. Anyway, my own wrist check today. Yeah, my Casio Duro build from a couple days ago. If you did not see that video, you should check it out. I put the grinder to the Casio, so to speak. And on my other wrist is a smaller version of the Glacier Loom Shot that I did. Islander by Loom Shot Glacier that we did. We came out with a larger size, then we came out with a smaller size, and both were equally as successful. So will Formex have success on their hands with this 41? Let's find out. So here's what exists currently. These are the original in my right hand here, the 43 millimeter Essence. Like I said, it sold okay. It wasn't great. However, when they came out with these 39s, man, bam, they had something. Really cool designs. However, today we are here for the one that's gonna slide up right in the middle. Dun, 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 dun. Meet the 41 millimeter Essence. As I said, they have chosen to, I'll show these all on the wrist later for you to get a better idea. They've chosen to launch it with this Space Ghost, they call it the Space Ghost theme. It's a Meteorite dial, and the Meteorite has been rhodium plated. You might know that I own a Legera Meteorite, what do they call that one? Space Gold with the rose gold. Super light. I love that watch. When this came out, it reminded me, I'll try to throw a picture up if I can find it, of a Zin that I fell in love with. But that Zin is like 10 grand. So I really didn't want to spend it on a Zin. So I got one of these instead because it scratched the same itch. So beautiful Formex. It's got all the same stuff that the Essence had before, including case suspension. But there's a new feature, or new features, besides the new size, right? Screw down crown, okay? You have a double butterfly, but this actually has a micro adjust, which is super cool. Let's see if I can figure it out. There it goes. See that? You just snap it. And with gloves, it might be difficult, but see that little piece that came out? If I get my finger out of the way, there we go. There we go. So it has that on both sides. So you can pull out one or you can pull out both, and you get a little more room or a little less room depending on what you need. So it says screw down crown still retains 100 meters of water resistance. However, it is a very useful sports watch. It certainly gets around. So having a screw down crown for people that are going in the water, definitely a good feature. Let's go on though. It is running on a chrono a chronometer grade Sellita SW200. So what does that mean? Well, if we come up on the dial, it says Essence Chronometer. Chronometer means that the COSC, an independent body in Switzerland, has certified the movement in the watch to be accurate to a certain accuracy under varying conditions of temperature and position. And that is mostly +6, -4 seconds per day. Awesome. The case, as I said, is 41 millimeter. It's 10.6 thick, so we are under 11, 10.6 thick. It's 46.5 on the lug tip to lug tip. You saw before exhibition screw down case back, exhibition case back with individual screws holding it down, and I'll let you get comfy up there on the movement. That is, as I said, a chronometer grade movement. So if you're gonna send them out for chronometer testing, get over there. If you send them out for chronometer testing, you really have to use a chronometer grade movement. Sapphire crystal, obviously, front and back. The bracelet is 22 millimeter, and they've been doing this now where the bracelet itself has quick release pins, and then you can take any of the 22 millimeter Essence 41 accessories, bracelets, nylon straps, leather straps, etc., and you can fit them on without the need for tools. Let's see, what else we got here? Oh, we should probably go over the price. So this one, because it is a special dial Meteorite, it's going for $22.90. I sold these as a pre-order on the website. I believe I got 15 pieces, plus one for myself, 16. I'm pretty sure they all sold out by the time I got them in stock now. However, they will be making them again, like they do with a lot of their dials. They're not limited runs. They're just kind of special runs. They're only run like maybe once a year or so. But let's look at those blued hands and markers, real blued hands and markers. You can see the lume, and just look at the patterning and the texturing on the dial. Check out that Meteorite. You know I'm a sucker for blue, of course. This unit, by the way, is a review unit. It is a little beat up. This is not new. This is not mine either. Mine will be brand spanking new. A beautiful date, etc. So it's a Sellita. So it's a screw down crown, as I said. Pull it out, wind it, 40 hours roughly of power reserve. Pull it out, 2 clicks, change the time. And 1 click, you're going to change the date. And they've even, if you can see at the bottom, there's no date window, date frame. However, they did chamfer the Meteorite, which is a feat in and of itself. So let's see, we went over that. So Formex will be releasing these in other normal dial varieties, and those will obviously be priced less. Just for comparison's sake, these are $1,650, and this commands about a $600 or $700 premium because it is rhodium plated Meteorite. But let's see, I think that is gonna do it there. Oh, I do want to mention one more thing. The bracelet screws on these are a little bit different than what they typically use. And I want to show you these new screws that they are using in the bracelets. If I can handle it with my glove, I can. There we go. Now, if you are an Islander fan, the watches, not the hockey team, you will have seen these screws before. They are what I have always called shaker head screws. The head of the screw, the part that's threaded, is the 39 millimeter on my ball joint, pretty much right at the top of the pin. And what that does is when you tighten it down in the link, the pin and the head of the screw are free to rotate from one another. So when the bracelet flexes, the head of the screw can rotate in one direction and the pin can either stay still or rotate in the other direction without loosening the threaded connection. It basically eliminates the need for Loctite. We would call this a decoupling action between the screw part and the pin part. They are decoupled dynamically, so they're free to go their own way. Let's do a little size comparison and then a lume. And here you can see all three of them at the same time. The 39, of course, perfect on my smallish kind of wrist. The 41's nice with a decent presence. And then the 43, kind of touching on being too large, and maybe that's why it's certainly not the most popular of the series. Super Luminova on the hands and markers, super easy to read the time, and a Kit Kat at the 12, so you know where 12 o'clock is. And I think that's going to do it for us here today. This has been Mark from longislandwatch.com showing you the new Formex 41mm Space Ghost. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done so. Questions, comments, anything else you want to say, put it down below. I'll be sure to address it as soon as I can. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.